Hello and welcome. Welcome to It's All Comical. I'm Russ Phillips, your guy in Guam. This is It's All Comical for July. Now, I'm going to say that my goal is to do this vlog every Friday, to release it every Friday as it falls for me wherever I happen to be in the world. As I've explained before, we're living currently in Guam. My wife is working with the U.S. Department of Defense and pursuing different opportunities. Of course, as her career grows, and it's very possible and maybe even likely that at some point we'll end up at different places in the world. But for the time being, we're here in Guam, and that's significant because Guam, as the saying goes here on the island, Guam is where America's day begins. That's because, although we're in the Pacific Ocean, and about a 7.5, 8-hour flight, something like that, from Honolulu, Hawaii is sort of where America's day ends, right? Hawaii is on one side of the international date line, and Guam is very, very close to the international date line here in the Marianas Islands. So we're a little bit ahead. So as I say, it's July the 1st. It's for most people there in the continental U.S. and for, I guess, much of the world, although it's, I guess, almost noon here, it's still very late in the day and today is Thursday, not Friday, here. It's still Wednesday evening back in the continental U.S., back in Texas where I'm from, and obviously everywhere else in the continental U.S. And there's a reason. So this week's, so again, the It's All Comical, this is sort of in a very umbrella way. The big picture is this is my personal video supplementation of my work as a writer and a communicator. I'm a creative writer, a screenwriter. The It's All Comical refers both to my past history as a stand-up comic, my love of comedy and comic writing, screenwriting in comedy. I write a lot of comedy. I also write a lot of sort of horror and thriller in the dark. So I like, that's my duality. There you go, right? Light and the dark, the comedy and the tragic. And the fact also that I'm also moving, in addition to screenwriting, in addition to article writing, that I'm sort of prepping, getting my ducks in a row to really launch on Medium, to sort of get myself out there a little bit. But I'm also evolving a bit into a comic and graphic novel scriptwriter as well, and so that's kind of what we talk about. But I'm taking a personal step of evolution from thinking of beginning to look at copywriting in the health and wellness industry, because I had been working in some healthcare related fields and had started to take a look at what it would take for me to get my own freelance copywriting business together, and so things have progressed and that, again, it sort of based on further heart-to-heart discussions with my wife and what it is that she'd really like, for me to pursue. My ultimate dreams, which are always going to, be in creative writing and less in terms of writing for business, but I still sort of very much in love with the idea of speaking in a very honest and open way, speaking from the heart on kind of documenting my own personal journey and evolution and putting that out there for like-minded people, especially for those of you, you can see I've got gray hairs. I'm in my 50s, that's part of what I'm building up to here as to why it is that I'm posting here on July the 1st and not on July the 2nd, which is Friday. I'm here in my 50s, and I'm doing something of a life reclamation, a life reboot, um, getting very much involved with a positivity mindset, and taking control of my health and well-being overall. And so that's very much a message that I kind of want to speak on, and sort of let it permeate my work, both creatively and in when I'm writing nonfiction, when I'm writing articles. Part of just a message that I think is important. Now, do I think I'm not, believe me, I'm not deluded. I don't fancy myself some kind of messiah. It's more, that I think we all have a personal responsibility to contribute to the worldwide conversation in a positive way. And certainly for any of you who connect with me, I hope you'll take a look at what I do creatively. Again, with the comics, I'm partnered up with at least, right now I'm partnered with an illustrator out of the UK, a gentleman named Bill Morrison, and the two of us are working under the working partnership title of PM Collaborative. My last name Phillips is Morrison, PM Collaborative. I'd ask you to, if you're go to Facebook and follow us. As far, if you're interested in comics, again, we're not doing sort of superheroes and fantasy so much as really kind of we do sort of dark. We're working on our big picture project right now is a thing called Windy City, which will be a graphic novel in 4 parts. And it's Windy City, of course, as you know, refers to Chicago, and in particular, our story is a dark horror kind of sci-fi retelling of the Untouchables, Elliot Ness and Al Capone, and dark forces at play. And it's something we're very, very excited about. I think if that's something that piques your interest, again, I invite you to come over to Facebook. Look at the PM Collaborative Facebook page. Think about joining us as I go on here, looking to continue to reach out to people that have a similar interest in that kind of work. There are lots of things that I'm sort of thinking about doing in terms of building an audience and sort of really getting started in the world of comics. Part of that is, and this is also kind of an open call. If you happen to be a comics creator, I'm going to continue to look at getting involved in more and more comics sort of online communities, and see if I can't make more and more connections with people in the industry, especially those of you who are starting out. And because I'm really embracing the idea. And this comes from a writer on Medium and a guy who is a business coach or an entrepreneurial coach, a positivity mindset coach sort of as well, by the name of Anthony Moore, who sort of got me onto the concept that, everybody has something of value to offer to people. And even if you sort of feel like, I haven't really achieved all that much, or I've got a long way to go in my own personal journey, that you really do still have a positive message that you can convey. And it's really, to people who are, you may look at where you are on the game board of life, right? And say, there's the start line, and I'm only, I've moved 4 spaces, let's say, figuratively speaking. Well, the people who are back on the start line and people who are on space 1 want to know how to get to space 4. And it may be that you've got a long journey ahead of you, but you have something positive to say, and especially if you feel as though that you're seeing positive results because you've latched on to something that's beginning to work for you. You're beginning to see the results, and that's where I am in life, and so hopefully I can put that out there again. As I say, hopefully it permeates not just me speaking to a camera here and speaking from the heart, which is one way that I'm sort of getting that message out. But also, again, in articles and in what I write, and what I write creatively, and how I it's, sort of being a true north compass for what guides me as I craft my stories in both screenwriting and in comic writing. And in however else, I'm also taking a look at adapting a script that I wrote that I haven't been able to do anything with, but I had gotten some good feedback with, and now I'm thinking it might actually make a good novel. So, there's another thing that I'm taking a look at doing. I've actually started sort of laying some prep work for taking a horror script that I wrote called A Storied Horror and turning that into a novel. And I won't say a whole lot more about what that's, it's just sort of premature. And as I bring that along, then I'll have more to talk about with regard to that. But PM Collaborative, again, we're working on sort of getting a body of work together. We'll have web comics hopefully coming that will be, regular sort of anthology one-off stories, and I'd like to be able to put something together to be able to offer to people for free, to sort of just give it, sample our wares, if you will, right? Those great sort of lost leaders that will introduce you to our brand of storytelling, and hopefully that'll be something that'll be exciting for people. So I'm beating, as I always do, I'm a rambler. I'm a rambling man. I'm on topic, but I know that I had some clear agendas and I need to still, I keep teasing you. I'm tickling your ass with a feather about why it is that I'm posting on July the 1st on 2021 rather than July the 2nd. Well, July the 2nd, and I'm looking to, I will probably try to get a couple of things published this week on Medium to sort of break ground on this new venture, right, that I'm describing to you, this sort of shift. I have a few things that are already published on Medium, and they are related to healthcare, and I will continue to speak about, but sort of broaden it from just, yes, healthcare, but also sort of positivity mindset, I think is a strong aspect of what it is that I really want to kind of make my presence about, make my message about. But general life observations, definitely a lot of humor. I realize, again, when I speak extemporaneously, I'm not working from a script, and so I don't have a lot of, I'm not crafting a lot of jokes. If I'm ever entertaining for you, if I ever, say funny things here in the vlog, know that that's just straight off the cuff. And probably as I go along, I'm sure I will get, a little more polished in all of this, a little smoother with it, and maybe the jokes as time goes by, the evolution of it will flow. I certainly can tell you that as I'm building up a little bit of a backlog of material that I'm looking to release to Medium, there's much more humor sort of entwined in the message, in various articles, various life observations, documenting, and again, this video series sort of evolved from what I was starting to do under a different title, which was A New Man, because I, on April the 20th, began a weight loss effort. I was weighing in at 265.2 pounds on April the 20th. On April the 30th, I began creating these vlog series, releasing them every Friday. Again, now I've evolved it to now It's All Comical, because I don't want to make it strictly about weight loss and self-improvement. It's partially about that, and then partially about other things related to, again, generally speaking, my writing, my creativity, maybe more specifically about comics. So, hopefully, as time goes on, I'll make connections with people, and I'll be able to bring some other people's stories who are breaking into the comic world. Potentially I might cover some things about people who are breaking into screenwriting. So it's, depending on where your interests lie with me, if you find me entertaining enough to at least, read my stuff and check in with these videos, and again, thank you very much. Please subscribe, please like, all of those sorts of good things. Where I was with again, why it is that I'm here on Thursday is July the 2nd is my birthday. So that's why I was saying I'm in my 50s now. I am 50 as I sit here on July the 1st. Tomorrow I turn 51. And we've got plans for things. So as it's really, I'm decided to go ahead and just do this a day early. And part of the reasoning for doing the vlog on a weekly basis, that I don't want to be too much of a slave to convention. I am working with my own deadlines. I set my own agenda with these things. So, I figured to me what made sense was to do it a day early, because tomorrow we have sort of a busy day planned. It should be a good fun weekend for our family. And with July 4th here in the United States, Guam, of course, being a U.S. territory, you ought to know that, Americans, right? Guam being a U.S. territory, yes, there are celebrations, and of course we are living on a U.S. Military base here on Guam during our stay on Guam, and so yes, things will be shut down. So it's a long weekend that gets a little bit longer because my wife is taking the time to spend with me for my birthday. So she takes off one day, she gets a 4-day weekend, and it'll be a great weekend for our family. So, quickly I'll give you the update then on the weight loss progress, and talk a little bit about, so that, the kind of the broad theme for this vlog entry today is celebrating a number of things. One being that I'm coming up on a birthday. Another, let's talk about the weight loss. We went from the 265.2 on April the 20th to last week I was at 233.5, so over the 30-pound threshold, right? Down 30 pounds since April the 20th here on July the 1st. And now on July the 1st, this morning, I weighed in at 230.6. So not a complete 3-pound loss in less than a week. I still have one more day to go. So, I mean, if it was a really... Today turns out to be a great weight loss day, then I suppose there's a possibility I could break past the 35-pound mark and past the... I've talked about, sort of the importance when you have a long weight loss journey, as I do, of hitting those milestone markers, right? That's a big deal, and so you kind of want to celebrate any of those that you possibly can. But I'm knocking on the door of 35 pounds, and if I have a decent week this upcoming week, maybe I'll be reporting to you next week that I'm down into the 220s. It'd be nice to be, under 220, under 230, in the 229, 228, 220. We'll see where we end up. But a little bit of a, we're definitely going to be sort of suspending the hard calorie restriction effort for the day in a controlled way. To celebrate the birthday, right? We got some great. I know we have some great meals planned. We also have a lot of great activities planned. My wife has got us set up. We're doing a bit of a staycation. For better or for worse, sort of taking advantage of a bad situation. Of course, we're involved in the pandemic here on Guam. Tourism is, of course, maybe their primary industry, what really drives the economy here. So you can only imagine that, the worldwide pandemic, the travel restrictions, Up until very, very recently, Guam has had a 2-week mandatory quarantine for people that come to visit the island or when you come back to the island, which, essentially that means, first of all, obviously, as with everything else in the world with the lockdowns and the, restaurants being either forcibly shut down or as they've slowly opened up at increasing 25% to 50%. We're getting to the point where I believe they're going to be at 100% capacity restaurants soon. But many things, many of the features. The entire tourism industry, the entire economy for Guam, particularly hard hit. We've got the people that are here and don't have to fly in are able to take advantage of some really, as one would expect, rather steep discounts for the very nice island resorts that are generally full of tourists, many of which come from Japan and other places in Asia, but Guam is sort of known a little bit as like Japan's Hawaii. It's their sort of tropical beach getaway place, but and people from all over the world can come here and enjoy a lovely, again, sunny beach tropical island by coming to Guam, and that's not really possible right now. But as I say, that ends up being a little bit of good news for us and our family. So we get a very, very nice couple of day staycation at one of the local resorts here, and we anticipate. And then, of course, as I say, we have some great meals planned. We know what we're doing for dinner and for my birthday and celebrating. And yay! Who doesn't love that? The other thing, so celebrating weight, celebrating birthdays. I also was remiss last week. Last week I made my video last week of It's All Comical, and I'm going to roll again into this whole theme of celebration. 2 weeks ago was Father's Day, right? So last week would have been the first Friday following Father's Day, and I meant to, but didn't just sort of talk about what I sort of consider to be maybe my most valuable possession. Symbolically, this is my most valuable possession because I am without a doubt married to the right person. I went through a divorce in 2015. To a person who's a very good person. We just had, our chemistry got off the rails and we weren't able to recover it. And I think we ended up, as people do, we grew apart. And, it was probably at the end of the day best for all considered. And then and now I'm incredibly in love, and we got married very, very quickly. I was divorced in 2015, and I was right back on the roller coaster in 2016. In March of 2016, I got married to my current wife, my current and only rest of my life, my partner, who who I feel like I'm on as strong a rock solid foundation as a human being can be in any relationship imaginable, because each of us were at the end of relationships and just melded at a time where we're each sort of making some very significant philosophical and life changes and trying to embrace life and kind of getting a chance to reset and do it over in the right way. And so that's again, part of my journey that sort of in many ways, I've built a few relationships kind of with this same sort of authenticity and positive mindset and kind of with an honesty. Not that I'm not saying like I'm a reformed pathological liar. That's not the implication at all. I'm saying there's a living with authenticity. There is a, I think, I remember a comedian who talked about, like, when you meet somebody and you start dating them, you're not meeting them, you're meeting their representative, right? Like, people, when they are looking to get into dating, they do things like, they hit the gym, and they maybe, they might get involved in a lot of different programs, and they might become, try to, again, when you go on the first date, they're putting their best foot forward and telling their story in a sort of edited and highlighted and heightened reality kind of fashion. And there's, you have that initial fascination with one another, and so you sort of see people in a very idealistic way, and everything is fresh and new and exciting, and you realize that a lot of those, as you begin to really learn who each other, who you are essentially, and those layers kind of peel away, and you get to, like, well, and then you also grow and maybe become somebody different, but where you had that sparkle in your eye and you put that person up on a pedestal, and you partly realize it's not that they consciously lie to you, but they are trying to, and it's fresh and it's new and da-da-da-da. I'm saying a lot of cliched horseshit about romantic love and relationships that I think probably most of you know and have heard, over and over and over again, but they happen to be true in a lot of ways. So, all right, 2015, authenticity. My wife and I have a son together now. Our relationship is so rock solid, and we're fabulously in love, and we are engaged in a level of authenticity that I never would have expected to ever have in my life. And I encourage that for all of you, that if don't be afraid to sort of be your authentic self and to be as open and honest. Like, don't have people decide whether they like you or reject you based on, because they are anyway, right? What you can't avoid is people's judgment or how it is that they enter into things. What you can do is connect with people in an authentic way and still let those same chips fall where they may. They might as well not make those judgments based on your representative. Be your most authentic self, and then, if you're committed to being the best you possible, and that's in terms of, whatever that really, I guess, means to you. For me, mind, body, and spirit, and trying to reclaim my health, and trying to be, have as much integrity as I can, and to speak, from the heart. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, and probably will continue to say it as often as it comes up, that if you read what I write, or you're watching one of these videos, and you think I'm full, I guess the point is, be beyond internalizing criticism. I'm totally cool with, again, if your response, your natural response to who I am and what I'm putting out there, to anything that I write, again, whether it's fiction or these sort of more genuine and authentic and more direct non-fiction articles and the vlog here, is there's something about me that turns you off, and so your response is to critique me, make fun of me. I don't care. I'm not going to let that define me, and it's absolutely cool. I play to my audience, and that's, I think that, like, why not? I could put on airs, I could present myself as a fictional character, try to give you, this is again part of why I do this vlog in this fashion, unedited, raw, from the heart, without a script. At points you see I kind of, I'm looking for, exactly what it is that I want to say. And that's all cool and fine because, again, you'll either respond to that or you won't, and I'd rather it be authentic. And so, yeah, all right, so I got off track from talking about something that I now consider to be maybe my most valued possession. And that is a gift that I received. I talked about, so a couple weeks ago was Father's Day. I didn't talk about it last week. I meant to show you guys this. I meant to show this on my vlog. This is, I'm going to hold it up here. This is my most valued possession. Now, our son he was born in 2017, so 2018 was the very first year that Father's Day rolled around that I was actually a father. And so this is, you had 2018, 19, 20, 21, right? So, he'll be 4 this year, later this year. But this is, at school they had them make this. And, it's not just the excellent craftsmanship, right? Like that's artwork that you can't, unparalleled, right? And then we got number 1. Now, obviously, my son isn't responsible for the images of the bears, and my son isn't responsible, for this lettering on here. That's for sure. Now, they had them cut out his little, trace his little hand, and it's the presentation. Right? It's the presentation. It's the fact that, he came into we went, my wife and I picked him up from school, and he had that. They had them make that, and it was the clarity and the sweetness and the purity in his voice as he gave that to me and then said, Happy Father's Day, Daddy. Because, look, you love your children from the moment that they're born, but you realize how, there's a point at which you are purely, that love flows kind of in one direction. You have love that pours out to something, an infant that is only capable of returning dependence, right? They cling to you and they depend upon you, but they're not able to communicate, and they can't have sophisticated, thoughts, and they can't think conceptually, and they don't understand things like why it is when he came down the stairs on December the 25th, he doesn't know what the calendar is. He only, he sees Mommy and Daddy are there, and there's a tree with a lot of lights, and he sees all of these boxes, and things are sparkly, and then we sit down and we're all happy and we have a little nice breakfast together, and then he gets to rip into all these boxes and he's got a bunch of toys. But there's no significance. He's got no framework. And now, it's, again, that clarity of voice for him to understand that, that's not true this year. From last year, he knows now at 3.5 going on 4, he's looking forward to Christmas. He understands the concept of Santa Claus. He knows that he's going to get things. He's been through many of his classmates' birthdays, so he's looking forward to his own birthday party, whatever that's going to, and he knows he's going to get things. So, I think that's just one of those moments when I received this, where you just, again, this, it's sitting on my desk. I've got it, and of course, in a place of absolute honor and reverence, where it's inspirational for me in my days, in my daily work, and it recalls to mind again the purity of his little voice, saying that without prompting, and with understanding, and with a genuineness, and that innocence. And it's, again, it's a moment that, it's sort of like a watershed gut check moment that, you know that you're a human being, right? You have real blood pumping through your heart, or else you are a cold, soulless thing rolling through this, through the ether, I suppose, right? If you don't respond to your child wishing you something in a genuine way, and with the sort of love and earnestness that only comes from your own kid at 3. So there you go. That kind of wraps things up. We've gotten the weight loss updates. I've rambled on long enough. Again, these things are hitting beyond 30 minutes. I don't know that that's always going to be the case. I don't think it would be the case. I certainly didn't have the time to do this tomorrow when it's my birthday. That really does, I think, say everything and beyond what I intended to say for this week. Next week, please come back and join me for the continued, again, I will be logging, tracking and documenting my weight loss effort. We use the new map. It's not, again, I can, at some point as I go along here and revisit, if you go back to previous videos, I talk a little bit about Noom. I didn't have any chance to really do it this week. But I'll continue to report about what my experience is with it. I think there's a lot of positives. Not so much negatives. It's just, it offers, of everything that it offers, there are things of greater and lesser value. And I think that's going to be for everyone on an individual basis. So I'm neither endorsing it nor am I warning people against it. I'm just merely reporting my results with Noom, but I'm sort of being transparent that that my wife and I are engaged in a weight loss process that we outlaid a little bit of money on this for, and so I would say that so far as I'm approaching the 35-pound weight loss mark, with again a lot more to go, it seems as though so far so good, that it's been helpful, again, I'll continue to sort of report on it and talk about it more in other weeks where I've got a lot less to say, as I'm now rolling up towards the 40-minute mark. All right, so I thank you very much for checking in with It's All Comical. Until next week, you have a great week.